What's going on, everybody? In this video, we are going to be talking about what's going on in the crypto and the NFT market. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, starting things off, let's talk about what's going on in the macro setting. For the most part, over the past few days, things have been kind of going down, right? So over the past month, around this time, which was August 17th, 18th, that's when things started to really dip. And obviously this correlates to how much fear there is in the market in general. If you go on YouTube, a lot of people are saying like the real estate market is going to crash in America, and people are saying that China economy is not doing too well. So a lot of people are not doing too well, right? What are the actual numbers and how economically sound every country is another story. But a lot of times for these kind of dips, it's dependent on the news and FUD and the emotions that people have when they are trading. So you always want to keep that in mind. And when the macro economic outlook is kind of bearish, then crypto obviously takes a hit as well. So that's why, in my personal opinion, that's why things are kind of dropping to 1.6. But not only that, but when we are looking at, a lot of the floors of a lot of projects, they have been dipping as well, from the Bored Ape ecosystem to Azuki at 4.88. Captains dropped quite a bit. It's at, 3.78. Moonbirds, 1.36. Clone X, I believe it was like just above an ETH. So everything's kind of dropping, right? And why is it dropping? Well, I think that a lot of people at the moment are leaving the NFT space. They're taking their money. Maybe they're selling at a loss and they're just moving on to their Web2 businesses or getting a regular job and things of that nature. So a lot of people are actually exiting the space. However, there are people that are continuing to build, especially the ones that did sell a lot of NFTs and raise a lot of money during the last bull run, who have the ability to keep going even if they're burning money every month. So you want to keep that in mind. But this is that exodus period where people are actually leaving the space. And even for me, when I notice on Twitter, I'm on that every day, I'm observing what's going on. There are definitely a lot less voices than I remember. A lot of people are switching their content to like AI and all these other topics outside of Web3. So, there's less competition, but the market pool is much smaller. But when the time comes, the people who are prepared will probably benefit the most, especially when they are early. So definitely want to keep that in mind. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some NFT projects. First one we're going to talk about is going to be Doodles. So Doodles, for the most part, a lot of people say they're not really doing much and things like that. But I feel like what they're doing is they're less focused on the community side of things, and they're more focused on more of the B2B side things, trying to do partnerships, trying to generate real revenue outside of NFTs. And again, they sold a lot of NFTs, right? Not only they did the mint, the royalties, they sold those mystery boxes. So they sold a lot of NFTs. Now they trying to do some more limited edition projects with big brands like Crocs. So, to be honest, like there's a lot of Web2 brands that do collaborations with Crocs. So it's not really like a revolutionary thing when it comes to Crocs doing a collab. I would imagine Crocs is just interested in NFTs and they're like, hey, let's just do it through Doodles, since they kind of know what they're doing and it's just another collab, right? So it's not something that necessarily moves the needle, but it shows that they're at least doing something. And the benefit of having a Doodles will have exclusive access to buy the collection for a reduced price of $99, right? I think the original is $120. So it's about a $20 discount for holding a, $1,000, $2,000 asset. So, they're getting early access, they're getting a discount, the team is listening. So, they're doing something. I think expectations need to be reset. This is better than nothing, right? Now we're going to talk about another Web2 brand, which is Mercedes Benz. Basically, Mercedes Benz, they hired an NFT team to do their NFTs. In my opinion, it's kind of like Mercedes doesn't know much about Web3, is my guess. So they're going to build a team and experiment to see what's going on, because no Web2 brand wants to miss out on the possibility of selling digital collectibles because the profit margin is so high. And they need to experiment. They need to put out some small experiments with people that kind of know what they're doing, hopefully. So basically what's happening here is they're selling digital collectibles. What will these collectibles do for Mercedes, the brand itself? It's very unclear, to be honest. It's kind of like just selling digital collectibles, similar to how company might sell a figurine like style of a car or something, like a miniature car that you can buy and put on your shelf. So it's kind of like that, I would say. From my understanding, they're going to be launching like a whole series of NFTs. So this is going to be the first one. They're going to launch another one based on different themes, right? So Dutch auction, 1 ETH to 0.1 ETH. I feel like 1 ETH might be a little too high for the market, but hey, you never know. Maybe there's like people that love Mercedes Benz and they want to buy this, right? But I've learned from other brands in the past, I don't want to mention any names, but they didn't really do that well when it came to their NFT project, because they relied on the Web2 brand name and they thought like, oh, everyone's gonna buy it, but the truth is people don't. So I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. So mint date September 5th. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some alternative coin drama. So PEPE, the PEPE coin, which was like one of the hottest coins of the season, recently it has been going through some weird things, right? Long story short, there was a team of 4 people who worked on this coin, and it became something huge, right? How did it become huge? I'm sure there's a lot of back-end stuff that makes a meme coin go viral, but essentially 3 people on the team, allegedly they sold about $16 million worth of their PEPE coin, and then they just cashed it out on centralized exchanges and they just pieced out. So this kind of makes the community feel very sad because a lot of the founders cashed out, and it's like, where do we go from here? It's super unclear. It's nothing surprising in my opinion, because like when it comes to coins, you have to understand, if you do trade coins, you have to understand what game you're playing. You're playing a PvP game where you're trying to make money. Someone's going to lose money. The developers who make the coins are going to allocate themselves a lot of the tokens. The VCs who are involved, I'm not saying this has VCs, but any other token, are also going to dump their tokens. So it's a PvP game, right? If the founder leaves or stuff like that, that's the game that you play, especially when the founders are anonymous, right? I think people who are going to be upset are the people that are going to lose money. The people that made money, they don't really care, right? So that's just the nature of these, meme coins. I think everyone kind of knows it at this point. It's like a game of musical chairs, and you don't want to be the last one. I mean, I don't know why, but it seems like there's just like a lot of bad news going on in the crypto space right now. So NFT platform Recur shuts down despite $50 million raise and a big name backer. So essentially, if you remember back during the times when everything was minting, Recur launched a lot of projects, from the Rugrats, Hey Arnold, they did Hello Kitty. So they did a lot of projects. At that time, I did kind of feel like they were just selling digital collectibles and using the nostalgia and people just buying into the hype to get it to sell, right? Not too different from like doing a meme coin actually. Except they have the license. So they probably bought the license for a certain X amount of dollars and then was able to like turn it into an NFT, right? So I guess it's because the demand for NFTs is not that high right now, and it's kind of hard to stay in business. And I mean, like, to be honest, for what they did, I feel like the overhead costs shouldn't be high, but probably it was high because maybe they didn't know how to manage expenses. I don't know. In the end, I mean, I'm curious to know, like, how much money did they actually make profit? Or is this a venture that just like completely lost money? I mean, everyone has their own ethics. Everyone has their own belief on when a project should give up or when they should continue to use the money to keep going. In this case, they chose to shut down despite all the money they made from the NFT sale, the royalties, and raising money. So it is what it is. All right, let's look at some positive news now. So Solana Pay integrates with Shopify. So essentially what's happening here, long story short, you're gonna be able to use crypto to buy things on Shopify. So you're gonna be able to use coins like USDC, Solana, and I'm sure they're gonna add more later. So no transaction fee. And you can do things like, hey, if you have this NFT, then you could buy this product. NFTs might become more of like a loyalty program, right? You have like a special membership and you get special access to certain things. Like for example, Supreme sells a lot of stuff every single week. So imagine if you had a Supreme NFT, and then only if you have this expensive NFT, you can buy the next drop. So I could imagine a future where that becomes a norm. Definitely strides forward to see where e-commerce is going to go when it comes to implementing crypto and NFTs. Next story we're going to talk about is going to be Pudgy Penguins. So this was kind of interesting for me to observe from a business standpoint. So Pudgy Penguins is kind of separating their apparel line, which they're calling Igloo, from Pudgy Penguins. So it's kind of like Igloo, a brand by Pudgy Penguins. Igloo is a brand that caters to a wider clothing audience as we grow the top of the funnel for Pudgy Penguins. So probably want to have this as a standalone brand. I guess they're going for that, Fear God essentials, cozy, luxury kind of feel. I'm guessing they're thinking that if they could make Igloo into a brand that people want to buy, use the Pudgy IP on top of that to show people an example of how you can use an IP in order to create a clothing brand, right? Maybe to educate other holders on how they can create businesses using Pudgies. That could be a thing. And also, if this becomes a thing, then they could do things like, hey, if you own a Pudgy Penguins, then you're going to get access to the special drop, or you're going to get a special discount. So that could be something, right? And I feel like right now it's all experimental. It's all like seeing what's possible in the e-commerce space. It's an interesting move indeed, just to follow along. Okay, and so that's everything we got to cover for this video, and I will see you in the next one.